All right, boys, we're back.
We're back.
We just saw each other.
We did. It was very exciting.
I think we can. Oh, I know we are going to recount some things because Ethan and I have a surprise for Matt that we talked about
That's right.
Saturday or Sunday night after he left to go back to the hotel. So we'll definitely get into that. But Ethan, I think you have a story that
Yes,
you want to tell.
I have a quick story. So we all hung out for Memorial Day on Sunday. Colin and his family have always thrown Memorial Day parties, so the tradition continues with Colin and Toddy down in Charlotte. And so we went. We had a great time. It was wonderful. The bad news, which I'm allowed to share this as part of the story, yeah. The bad news is that Christine tested positive for COVID on Monday morning. Thankfully, nobody else has. We've all taken lots of tests, and everybody is negative so far. But so I was talking to my parents on Monday night, just saying hi and catching up and stuff like that. And I'm telling them about it, and I'm like, yeah, it was great, blah 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 blah. But the bad thing is, Christine got COVID, But I took a test and I was negative. This person, that person, blah blah blah. There's like six of us tested negative, blah 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 blah. But poor Christine, da 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 da. And my mom is like, "Who's Christine?" And I'm like, "Oh, Colin's wife. It's Toddy. It's Toddy." And my mom's like, "Oh, Toddy." So here's the thing about this, right? So I think we've talked about it on the pod. I call Christine Toddy. Me and Matt do, and I think we're the only people that do. And I've been calling her almost the entire time I've known her since 2014. Um, and apparently, in all of my conversations with my parents, I also refer to her as Toddy, which I did not realize. So literally, my mom didn't realize when I said Christine. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, now, bonus points for Ethan, though, and sorry for all the listening public for the echo in here. A little different spot, but um, I will say, as we were driving down and like talking about, I was trying to describe uh, Toddy to someone else, and basically Ethan interrupted me. I was like, her name's Christine. Like that's the best way to describe. Like I was describing Toddy and talking about how wonderful you guys are, and prepping people for the weekend festivities. And Ethan was like, "Well, first of all, her name's Christine. You can call her Christine, not Toddy." And I was like, "Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oops."
Yeah. Like she would never introduce herself as Toddy to anybody. Yeah.
Well,
So,
real quick, top it off. Like, how did you get to Toddy? Like, I know the story, but
yeah. So, okay. Um, Christine's actual nickname is Stodds, because her maiden name, her original last name, is Stoddard. And so
is that what maiden name means? Original last name?
I was just
Yeah.
clarifying, just whatever, dude. Just shut the fuck up and let me tell the story. Okay?
Matt thought I was serious.
Well, because you are a fucking moron, so it makes sense that you would ask such a
Oh,
question.
come on. Dude, the crap I pulled out of my hat on Sunday night that we're about to get Matt with, like I am not a moron.
I mean, you have impressive recall of specific information. I'll give you that. That's true. Um, so so Christine Stoddard, she goes by Stodds, right? That's like her nickname, and it's actually like her preference. She likes when people call her Stodds. Um, this, for those who don't know, this is very, very typical for athletes, right? What they do when they come up with nicknames in sports so often is they just take a person's last name and they just add a Y to it. So like Matt Root is Rudy. If I had played sports long enough, I'm 99% sure I'd have been Ertzy. Now, now Colin's last name is different because it ends, Cernelia. So he ended up being Cernigs. Same way with Stoddard, right? Like Stoddardy doesn't sound good. Stoddy doesn't sound all that good. So it became Stodds, right? Same with Cernigs. Like, yeah, Cerniliagi or Cernigi. We don't. That's not very good. So this is typical, right? Like when you talk about sports, occasionally you'll get the first name, like Paul O'Neill is Paulie, from baseball. Okay,
I
but this
think you're
drive,
the only person who calls him Paulie.
no, Coney calls him Paulie all the time, doesn't he?
I
Yeah,
I don't know. I'll
yeah,
have to fact check tomorrow when
yeah.
I'm
He's
listening
Paulie.
to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought maybe not. In any case, this is super typical, and I hate it. I think it's like so lazy. I wish that athletes were more clever and would come up with better nicknames. And so I was just being like silly and a doofus, and instead of getting Stods from Stoddard, I was like, what about Todd? Let's just pick some four random letters right in the middle of it. I'm gonna start calling you Todd, just to be a fucking idiot. And I don't think she loved it, but she like tolerated it. I did it for like a couple of days, I think, and but then it ended up morphing into Toddy. And Colin, that might have been you. I can't remember if you were the first one that said Toddy or if it was me.
No.
But somehow Todd, after a couple days, turned into Toddy, which is way better. And I know that this probably sounds crazy because Toddy is not that far from Stoddard or Stods, but I still think it's way more interesting, and there was more thought that was put into it. And yeah, this whole athlete thing of like Aaron Judge is Judgy, Aroldis Chapman is Chappy. He's this like 6'5" badass who's thrown 3,500 100-mile-an-hour fastballs since 2015, and people call him Chappy. Like, it's fucking insane. It doesn't make any sense. But anyways,
He's also the Cuban Missile.
He's the Cuban Missile, which is way better. But I get you can't address somebody in conversation and be like, "Hey, Cuban Missile." Like that obviously does not flow well. So I understand that like you need some flow, but Chappy, like he is not a fucking Chappy. Look at the dude. Watch him pitch. Chappy? Ugh. That is just like Chappy is what you think of like an old British man with a pipe. Like, "Oh, come over here, Chappy." Like that's what you think of. Like Aroldis Chapman is not Chappy. It's insane.
Oh man, I wish we could make a soundbite out of
that. so that's the story. That's the origin story of Toddy. And yeah, and that's been, I mean, God, since fucking 2014. Like when I think of her, it's weird to say Christine. Like it is kind of strange for me to do that. But yeah, to me, she's just Toddy. So. Yeah.
Well, thank you for the randomness. That actually fits the theme of today's episode really well. Like I have probably a dozen random screenshots in my phone of topics that I'm like, oh, these could be interesting, and we'll just maybe talk about them. Maybe we won't or whatever. So it totally fits the theme of what I was thinking about anyway for today. Do we want to go after Matt right away, or do we want to make the listeners wait?
Let's make the listeners wait a minute.
Oh, come on, bring it on.
Oh, no, he wants it. Let's do it now.
Maybe this is a double bluff. Maybe I was doing something on purpose just to set you guys up.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
okay.
Colin, stranger things have happened, right? Right? Who just happens to carry an extra toothpaste, Ethan? Hmm?
This is true. Holy shit. Okay, let me tell another story from this weekend.
He's like Larry David.
Yeah, so Matt and I drove down to Charlotte on Saturday, and we stopped in Richmond, and we had a delicious dinner at a well-known brewery in Richmond, Triple Crossing, and then we drove a couple more hours, and we stayed where were we, in Durham or Raleigh?
Durham.
In Durham. And just to split up the drive, because it's kind of a long drive, Charlotte is like 6+ hours from my place, and Matt is like 2+ hours from me. So that would have been, well over 8 hours of a day for Matt, which is a lot. So we broke up the drive. We stayed in a hotel in Durham on Saturday night, and I forgot to pack a little toothpaste, or more accurately, well, actually no, I forgot because I do know where I have a small one, but I forgot to do it. And I figured, oh, Colin's got some. I'll use Colin's, right? And I guess I don't even know if I thought about the hotel, but it ended up being that we had separate rooms. And I went to ask Matt, and I was like, "Hey, at some point, can I like borrow your toothpaste? I don't know where it is, blah 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 blah. I know we have like separate bathrooms and shit." He's like, "Actually, I have an extra toothpaste. Here you go. I have a second toothpaste." I was like, "What the fuck? Like, who travels with two toothpastes?" Matt does, and it was great. I was very pleased. So yeah, so thank you, Matt. Yeah,
there's
awesome.
literally an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where Larry David goes around looking in a hotel for an extra toothbrush. Oh. and looking for someone to give him, one of his friends, an extra toothbrush. So Matt, you would have not been on the episode because he obviously didn't want to find one. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been a funny episode. But that's why I said you're Larry David, because that's what he did.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, Matt. So I'll set you up with a little bit of context about how we actually got to this question that Ethan is going to ask you. We had the TV on. We're just talking in the living room, and the Warriors are in the NBA Finals for the sixth time in 8 years. Yeah, sixth time in 8 seasons. In our lifetime, we've actually seen that already 2 other times in at least the North American sports. Our beloved Yankees did it back in the dynasty days, and the Michael Jordan Bulls also did it. The Michael Jordan Bulls, even if the Warriors win this title, which I really hope they do, because fuck the Celtics, fuck you, Devin, shout out. But even if the Warriors win, I think that will only be their fourth championship, right? Yeah. So the Bulls obviously won all 6 times they went to the finals with MJ, and the Yankees won 4 times as well. So the stat starts there and gets us talking about everything. And then we're talking about the 2001 World Series, and we pulled up a weird stat that they hit like 183. The Yankees hit 183 in the World Series that year, and they led for like a total of like 5 innings, and yet they were 6 outs away from winning their 4th straight championship.
Yeah, so crazy.
And everything. And then that led us to talking about Alfonso Soriano and like how quickly things changed, because had the Yankees won the World Series, he probably would have been the World Series MVP. And he ended up having subsequently 2 amazing regular seasons after that with the Yankees, but 2 pretty bad postseasons, including the postseason where the Yankees went to the World Series in 2003. And now we get to, so we're talking about Soriano, we're talking what ifs and everything. And I was like, all right, so Soriano's not in the outfield yet. He's still playing second base. And I'm like going through my head, okay, it's Boone at third, Jeter at short, Soriano, Nick Johnson, Giambi at first, your boy Nick Johnson, Matt, Posada behind the plate, Ruben Sierra DHing, and then I was like, Bernie's in center, and I was like, I can't get the corner outfielders like right away. Now, mind you, it's been a long day and everything, but it's not coming. And Ethan shouts out, he's like, oh, Matsui. I'm like, of course, Matsui in left field. Hits that huge homer in game 2 they won that game or whatever. But we're talking specifically about game 5, I think, because we're talking about Boomer Wells. We're talking about how he used to brag to the media, how he didn't need to stay in shape and he could pitch really well. And then he came out of that game after the first inning, the same game where Giambi decided not to play in the World Series because he said he had a bad knee or something like that, when really it was because he couldn't make the throw from first to second base. And I'm like, I don't know who the right fielder is. It's not Sierra because he's DH, or he would have been DHing, but they're in Miami. Who is it and everything? And I think I took 2 guesses. I took one that really blew you away.
Yes, I totally forgot this person existed.
Yeah. And then I took one that I was like 99% positive that he wasn't on the team until the next year. And then my 3rd guess, I got him.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
if you can get Matt, who started game 5 of the 2003 World Series
in right field,
in right field.
And also second base. Second base is although second base you might remember. I forgot about that guy too, but second base would be an interesting one. But right field is the specific one. Yeah.
Oh, right, because Soriano did not start.
Soriano did not start. So the guy who started in second base, a very strange choice for Game 5 of the fucking World Series. Now, granted, Soriano was a rookie, but he was still a lot better.
He wasn't a rookie then.
Well, he didn't play a full season in 2000, though. I was just looking.
We're talking 2003.
Oh, 2003. Sorry. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that's even more insane.
Yeah.
That Soriano was not starting.
That was like a 39-40 season.
Yeah. 2002 was the 39-40 season.
Yeah. But he had a really good 2003, but
03 he hit 38 homers and 35 stolen bases. So it was a 30-30 year. Soriano was so fucking good, and Joe Torre did not start him in Game 5 of the World Series. Here, let me go on a quick tangent before we get back to this question. We talk so much, right, in sports and on this podcast about managers and their value and tactical decisions, blah, 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 blah. And this just hammers home the point what we've been talking about with managers, at least in my opinion, where we talk about all this tactical stuff, and people love to hammer Aaron Boone and shit like this, and people suck Joe Torre's dick, right, because he won 4 fucking titles. He won a bunch of pennants. He was so good with the Yankees. Dude did not start Alfonso Soriano in Game 5 of the fucking World Series in 2003. He wasn't hurt. He wasn't sick.
Which was a swing game.
Yeah, Game 5 is a huge game. It was a
2-2 game
series.
They had just I don't know if Game 4 they lost. Was that the walk-off, Alex Gonzalez, or was Game 5 the walk-off?
That I can't remember. I think
it was Game 4.
Okay.
But
still,
either way,
insane.
it's a swing game. Yeah.
Yeah, insane decision. And people, and this is like, I guarantee the vast majority of baseball fans, Yankee fans for sure, when looking back at Joe Torre, would be like, "Oh yes, I miss Joe Torre. He was so great. We won all those World Series titles." Really, dude? Like if that happened nowadays, Twitter would fucking explode, right? Like it's insane. So yeah, all of this shit about like the tactical stuff. Ugh. All right, yes, Matt. Who started in right field, Game 5, 2003 World Series? If you remember
Yes,
this,
I don't think it's right.
okay.
Raul Mondesi?
No.
Good guess. Good guess, though.
That was my second guess.
Oh, shit.
He didn't come till 2004.
This is another guy. The guy who actually did is another guy I had totally forgotten about. And we got to talk about Colin's guess that was crazy too. I wonder if Matt, you might remember one of these guys. This is riveting podcast stuff. Let's let it be silent while Matt thinks for like 3 minutes, I think.
It wasn't Spencer yet. Or it was after Spencer.
After, yeah.
It wasn't going to be Lede or Rivera. Was it someone nuts like Kareem Garcia?
Holy fuck. Kareem Garcia. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, absolutely. Kareem Garcia. Holy shit, dude. I am extremely impressed. Very well done.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, so I was not confident in that one. I think I have an idea of second base, actually.
Yeah,
because I love the long history of weird utility infielders.
Yeah, you're gonna know it then. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there's Soho, there's Homer Bush.
Yeah.
Bellinger. Bellinger.
And we were looking up the shortstop. I couldn't remember. I can't remember.
Brendan Ryan.
Was it Enrique Wilson?
Yeah, it was Enrique Wilson. Wow, holy shit! See, I totally forgot about Enrique Wilson and Kareem Garcia. Like I forgot they existed.
We had who else? Miguel Cairo. Where
Miguel
he's
Cairo.
like, oh, the guy, he doesn't strike out. Oh, and he can play anywhere on the field.
Yeah.
Ethan, look this up since I know you're looking at things.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Wilson started Game 7 of that LCS because Pedro was starting.
All right, let me look.
Wilson wasn't that good.
It's a Joe Torre hunch. That used to be a thing. He used to just like
so dumb.
It's so crazy to me. There's a really great line in the '99 World Series. Glavin's pitching Game 3, and I think one of the best baseball orators of is that the word orator
or orator? I usually say orator, but yeah,
of all time, Bob Costas is calling the game for NBC, and Glavine had the flu in Game 1, so he didn't start. He was supposed to start Game 1, so he's starting Game 3, and he's pitching really well. It's 5-3, I think, going into the bottom of the eighth, and whenever Knobloch hits the 2-run homer off of him, and like before the inning gets going, Costas is talking about like how Bobby Cox doesn't do it by formula. He does it by feel. He relies on like what the pitching staff tells him, and he plays like a lot of hunches. And he's talking about it in this like really revered way. Bobby Cox is a genius. Mm-hmm. And it, give it the context. It's 1999, but like people talked about Joe Torre like that all the time too. Like, oh, he plays this Enrique Wilson hunch because he's got like 7 career hits off of Pedro. And 2 of them are homers. So he's going to start Game 7 of the 2003 ALCS at Yankee Stadium.
He did. You are correct. He started at third base.
Yeah. Oh, so he started over Boone. Okay.
Yes, and then Boone pinch hit, and of course, hit the legendary walk-off.
Okay. So he didn't start him over Soriano, so that's not as bad. Boone didn't really have a good year. So. Right. Yeah.
I'll give up the ghost, though. The reason I actually know this is because today I was killing time on Baseball Reference. As I was eating my lunch, I just was like, I went on Baseball Reference, was looking up a couple things because I just wanted some non-work related stuff. And I started looking up Jose Veras, which he actually had a decent career, which then led me to look up Jose Contreras. And then I started looking at those teams. So I was like, Sterling Hitchcock and Jeff Nelson. And then I happened to catch Kareem Garcia today and go,
Oh, funny. Okay.
He was a player on the, but yeah.
Still impressive.
But that's complete luck. I can't actually take credit for that. I just was bored at my lunch break today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he started Game 7 of the ALCS too. I'm looking at that right now. Garcia did. But
Yeah.
before
I
we
think he was the better defender out of like Ruben
like
Sierra
whoever else,
and
yeah.
yeah,
I
they
mean,
didn't
remember
really yeah.
we had just so many weird plugins. Those, well, I'm thinking more towards the late,
2004, 2005.
2010s. Yeah, not
Yeah,
early
true.
then, but
But
like
even then,
we had, Doug Mientkiewicz, and then Russell Branyan play for the Yankees for like 3 games,
Russell
and
Brandon, yeah.
30 games of
hmm
Kevin Youkilis, and just
yeah,
like all these.
Vernon Wells, Reed Brignac.
I mean, Reed Briniak, that's it. That's it. Add now Matt Carpenter. Like,
Yeah.
how many games do you think he'll legitimately actually last this year? 30, 25? I mean,
Depends on if he keeps hitting homers.
say if
Yeah, right.
he's out gallowing Gallo right now. So
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Before we move on though, one of Colin's guesses for
Oh yeah.
for right field for Kareem Garcia, Kyle, do you want to tell us?
You go ahead.
Was a guy I don't remember at all. Matt, your memory is better for this stuff, so maybe you do. David DeLucci?
the name sticks out, but I don't remember him actually ever being on the
Oh, I
Yankees.
don't remember. I not that name. You could have made that name up. I had no fucking clue. David
And he was
DeLucci.
on
I don't
the
remember
03
that at
Yankees,
all.
right?
Yeah, he was. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't have told you that he was on the Yankees. I know I've heard the name in a baseball context, but I can't tell you I've ever.
Yeah. Oh my God, I had totally forgotten about him. So he played 21 games for the '03 Yankees. Speaking of these guys we're talking about, he played 21 games for the '03 Yankees, and that was it. And he did not play very well. But that's only 21 games. But yeah, so it was only 21 games. So I feel better that I had no idea. But still, the fact that Colin remembered, well, Jesus Christ.
I mean, obviously, I wrote a book about
Right.
them, and
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
that's part of it. But I mean, I loved those teams, like those dynasty, and I include the 2001, 2003 teams, in it, even though they didn't win the World Series. Like I
Oh
can
yeah,
tell
it was a
you,
great team.
yeah, I can tell you some crazy things about pretty much all those seasons. But
That big fight with the Red Sox, right? That year, that was Kareem was in the middle of it, right?
yep, mm-hmm,
Didn't
yep,
didn't Pedro buzz Kareem? Like I know he has
Oh,
more than just a cup, but he was the one that started mouthing back at,
yep.
that sounds
like,
That's the
familiar.
Don Zimmer. Yeah,
yeah.
yep,
It was Kareem
Wow.
Garcia who started screaming back at him.
yep. That's how I got to the guess when I was thinking through things. I thought of the fight. I was like, there it is.
And that's Posada like saying, "You throw at
Yeah,
me,"
yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah,
And
imagine if that happened today. How crazy that would be.
oh man, wild. And I have one more thing before we move on, because we were talking briefly. We mentioned Alfonso Soriano, and I want to give a shout out to my dad right now because during Soriano's rookie year, 2001, my dad made a prediction, and he was very confident. He was like, "This guy's going to be really good. This guy can hit. He's awesome." Now, mind you, in 2001, he played a full season, 158 games. He hit 18 homers with 34 doubles and a 736 OPS and a 91 OPS plus. So by no means was this a sure thing. I mean, 34 doubles is solid, and so is 18 homers. That's okay. But a 736 OPS and a 91 OPS plus, like,
Especially when you put into context that he came up as a power hitting shortstop and moved over to second base
yeah,
because of
right.
Derek Jeter.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't
And
he originally
so,
play in Japan too?
Yeah, because
Did he?
I think he was he's what age was he when he was a rookie? Like 25?
24,
25. Yeah,
25?
he was 25. Yeah.
He was older. Yeah.
He played 9 games in 1999 when he was 23. So maybe he was
Yeah.
in Japan like just before that. But so his rookie year was fine, right? But nothing spectacular. But my dad made that prediction, and my dad fucking nailed it. Soriano, I'm looking right now. He went 30-30 3 times. He went 40-40 once. His season with the Nationals in 2006. 40-40, for those who don't know, that means 40 homers and 40 stolen bases in the same year. An extremely rare accomplishment. 30-30 has happened a number of times. 40-40 is still really rare.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much have to be doing steroids to be a 40-40 guy.
Pretty much. And he finished with 412 homers. I mean, that's a really good fucking career. His WAR is not so good. I think because he was bad defensively, and he didn't walk very much. But 412 homers, a 40-40 year, 3 30-30 years. I mean, that's a great fucking career.
Yeah, and one of those 30-30 years was a 40-39.
Exactly, a 41-39. Yeah, if he had hit one more homer. And I remember the end of that year, he had some time. We were all like, really rooting for it, and it didn't happen. Yeah. But dude had a great career, so shout out to my dad for fucking calling it based on just an okay rookie year. So
I also just one tidbit that sticks in my mind with him too. Didn't he swing like a 35-ounce bat?
Yeah,
And
very heavy bat. And he
yeah,
used to like stand right at the top of the box and
yeah, that's right.
right up against the plate and everything. He was like just daring them to try to beat him inside. But yeah, crazy.
Yep. Cool.
Could have been the Yankee legend.
I know.
Had
really.
Mariano Rivera, the unanimous Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Not blown a save.
The unanimous Hall of Famer. The only unanimous Hall of Famer in fucking history was a closer. Jesus
but
Christ.
he's the reason that your boy got to the Yankees. So don't be too bad. Don't beat yourself up too much.
A-Rod.
Oh, A-Rod.
Because of the trade.
He was a trade, yeah.
Your
boy.
No, the reason was Aaron Boone. It wasn't Mariano Rivera.
Oh no! He's saying Soriano. Matt is saying
Soriano.
Trade bait.
Your boy A-Rod became a Yankee.
Yeah.
I loved A-Rod. I still love A-Rod.
Although Boone actually, if you want to, is actually more of the ultimate cause, right? Or the ultimate thing, as opposed to Soriano being
pick up basketball game.
Yeah, because Boone fucking up his knee is what caused the need for the trade in the first place. Had that never happened, who knows?
And then the Yankees go, your contract gone.
Yeah.
We're gonna pay someone else $30 million a year.
Yeah. Man.
All right. Do you guys want to keep going with random stuff? Does that fit you? Does that float your boat?
Definitely. I have one piece of trivia that I want to talk about that was actually shared. I don't need to do it now, but it was shared with us by Colin's friend and neighbor Todd, who is also my friend and not so much neighbor, I guess. But we had a great chat with him. He was super fun on Sunday, and he shared a really cool piece of trivia. Should I do it now or later? Yeah. Okay. So now I haven't had time to look this up and to see if it happened any other time. But so Todd was a huge Cardinals fan growing up. But he's now a huge Cincinnati fan because he lived in Cincinnati for a long time as an adult, I believe. Is that correct, Colin? I think that's right.
Yeah, I mean, both teams are terrible, but
yeah, right. But he was a huge Cardinals fan. Now, some of you may remember the name Willie Mcgee. Willie Mcgee played in the 80s and the 90s. He was an outfielder, and he played for the Cardinals for a number of years. And this is a fascinating piece of trivia that Todd mentioned to me. And I want to see if it happened another time. I don't know how to look it up, though. Maybe you guys do. I'm not quite savvy enough with Baseball Reference, I don't think. But in 1990, he started the season with the St. Louis Cardinals, who are in the National League. He ended the season with the Oakland Athletics, who are in the American League, and who also happened to win the pennant that year and play in the World Series, and they lost to the Reds. Now, what's fascinating is Willie Mcgee won the National League batting title with a .335 batting average. So he won the National League batting title, but played in the World Series for a team in the American League. Now, what's interesting, so this is, number one, that's just fascinating. I feel like that probably has not happened very much. But what's also interesting is that he played 125 games for St. Louis that year. So
was he a waiver?
What was up with the trade deadline? Was the trade deadline not a thing?
It must have been a waiver deadline deal.
Yeah.
In August,
when they had the August 31st deadline.
Okay. Yeah, because the July 31st deadline must not have been a thing, or
it's when they had the old fucking Verlander to the Astros deadline.
Right, the waiver
Fuck you,
thing.
Astros.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Tigers.
So it must have been that. Yeah. But I just thought when he whipped that out, I mean, I was sure that it was true. I didn't doubt him, but I thought that was super cool. I feel like that has probably happened very, very infrequently in baseball history.
You laughing at me? You laughing at me, Colin?
I'm just laughing how mad you got about Verlander. I didn't know you were so mad about it.
Well, also, fuck the rest of the league for not putting a waiver claim in on him and let him go all the way to the Astros. So
right,
true. Yeah,
very true.
That's your fault, Yankees. It's your fault.
But shout out to Todd. Thank you, Todd, for that very cool piece of trivia.
All right, that's great. Shout out to the Shocks. Great family, great neighbors. Good times. Okay, this is just for a chuckle. A friend of the podcast, Joe Poznansky, recently started on his Substack doing an extension to the Baseball 100, his New York Times bestseller book. And the first person, so he did a poll, and he said he'll pick the 10 people that gets voted for the most but he definitely wanted to do a Greinke one because Greinke did not make. And there was just this like joke that even if people don't vote for him, he will still do it as a bonus. And so of
Yeah, he
course
just
people
loves
did
Greinke.
not vote for him,
Yeah.
because they wanted to get 10 fresh ones in addition to one with Greinke. And so he just released the bonus the other day, and there's so many great Greinke stories.
Dude,
if you know
he's
who
the
Zach
fucking best.
Greinke
Oh
is,
my God.
he's so funny. But I just thought I would just read this one because I was dying laughing. It was on the heels of some of the really crappy stuff that's been going on in this world, and it just like totally turned my day around. And so Greinke's a weird dude, and this
And a
is
great
early
pitcher. For those who don't know,
yeah.
top-notch pitcher, most likely a Hall of Famer, but like, yeah, very strange, eccentric, quirky, unique. Yeah.
Very, very, very different guy. And this is early in his career, and Poznanski's covering him when he's with the Kansas City Royals. It's also early in Joe's career. And so they're at the Futures game, and he's like, he writes, "We had this rather odd exchange." And Joe says to him, "Were you nervous?" And Greinke says, "I don't know if I was nervous." And then he asked Joe, he said, "I mean, I felt something." And Joe goes, "Something like nerves?" And Zach says, "I'm not sure if it was nerves. I mean, there were a lot of people and stuff, and it was on TV." And then Joe writes, "He looked at me as if he wanted me to explain the emotion that he felt." And so Joe says, "Nervous?" And Zach says, "I don't know if I was nervous." And Joe was just like, "I tried to see if he was messing with me. It did not appear to be he was messing with me." Just so funny.
So
Definitely
good.
encourage you, if you're not already subscribed to friend of the podcast Joe Poznanski, please check out his work. Lots of great stuff like that. Okay.
I'll say though, like Greinke's mercurial, but he's famously like, I mean, he almost his anxiety and panic like
It was really bad early in his
almost
career.
killed his career. Yeah,
Yeah, he almost left
Yeah.
baseball. That's true.
he I mean, he did
I think it
not
was
like
early
the
too.
spotlight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he did not
Yeah.
like it. Yeah, he's super funny, and he's really, really famous for how honest he is. Um, there was a great piece that The Athletic did. I think it might have been last season, or maybe the year before, where they basically collected. They talked to a bunch of Greinke's like teammates or former teammates, and they just did this whole huge article of Greinke stories, and it was like one of my favorite baseball stories I've ever read.
Yeah.
So funny. There was one I think I want to mention, a quick one too, that kills me. That might have been, I think it was in this same one, that's Joe Paz piece that Colin is mentioning. I forget which team he was on, but he was talking to two of the catchers, and he decided that he didn't want to work with this one catcher anymore because this one catcher was too smart, was too strategic, and
Yeah.
and it was throwing Greinke off his game. He was like, "You make me overthink things. I don't want to throw to you. I'm going to throw to this other guy, like the backup catcher." And the backup catcher was like, "What, so you think I'm dumb?" And Greinke was like, "Yeah, but I like throwing to you." And apparently, like, just totally sincerely, and apparently that's like everybody's reaction a lot of times to this is they'll be like, we all like he'll say stuff to us, and then we all want to punch him in the face, but we all like appreciate his honesty at the same time. Like, it's a really weird feeling. But yeah, there are so many like that. It's so good. He told one time a teammate that he would trade him in order to make the team better.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
you remember that? It's like AJ Ellis, maybe, like a catcher for the Dodgers, I think, was like, what can we do to make this team better?
Ellis asked him, they were having like a team meeting when Mattingly was managing the team, and it was like a tense team meeting, and they were trying to figure out solutions to like how they could get better. And I think Ellis like posed the question, and Zach was like, "Let me think about it." And then he just like randomly in the middle of the game was like, "I would trade you."
Yeah, that's the first thing I would do is I would trade you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had like an actual reason for it. I can't remember, but it was like a specific, like, rational reason, but just hilarious. Just like he's so blunt, but apparently he delivers it in such a way like he's not malicious. He's just like, yeah, I think I would do this.
Yeah.
And it's just the best. So just search for Zach Greinke stories if you're a baseball fan. They're just so good.
Yeah. And while you're searching, you should also search for Jesus Sanchez, who hit a 496-foot home run the other day in Colorado. So maybe there was a little bit
grain of salt, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of air travel there in the Rockies. But oh my God, when when I saw it, I was like, wow, where you see that, but it's just so cool to see
It's in
where the
like the
ball landed.
top deck. Yeah, like
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
never
like you
seen.
never
Yeah,
see things like that. Not even in home run derbies. Like
yeah,
it was just so cool.
it was wild.
But he had like the worst little leaguer unload, step in the bucket, swing as hard as you can swing. He happened to get square. Like it was bad. It was he swung as hard as he could. He got every ounce of his power in that thing. That
Yeah,
was
it was
impressive.
amazing. And then one other thing, speaking of cool plays, just a couple days ago, I don't think we texted about it, but I think the guy's name is Eli White. He's a an outfielder. I can't remember for who,
Hmm.
but I think it was G-Man Choi hit a fucking rocket to like left center field, and you could hear the crack of the bat like it was a bomb. And Eli White robbed the homer. One of the best catches, one of the best robs I've ever seen. It was really good. Like he caught the ball like at the height of his jump, like leaning over the wall, reaching like super high.
Yeah,
It was
yeah, that
like it
one's
was a
good.
crazy play. It was awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
like perfect. When you think of like the most epic home run robbery you can think of, this was it. It was so
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Better than the Griffey scales the wall.
That one was good. That one's classic too. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But this one, like his extension and the height of his jump, it was just like I don't know. It was very cool. Yeah.
yeah.
I think the Griffey one. Sorry, Dan Leduc, if you listen to this. I think the Griffey one isn't as impressive as some others, but is more famous because of Griffey's reaction after.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Griffey is like he's the kid. I
The
mean, he's got
kid,
that
yep.
big grin, like I got it, like you know. Um, but yeah, uh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff all around. Uh, Not to it's not as epic, but shout out to big cousin Aaron Judge, who did rob Shohei Otani of a home run yesterday during the Yankees Angels game. And Otani, by the time you hear this tomorrow, it will be before 1 o'clock if you listen right away. So make sure you check out Otani and Nestor Cortez on the mound in game one. The Yankees got rained out, so they're playing a split doubleheader tomorrow. Check
That's a
that out.
great matchup.
Speaking of Yankees, former Yankee Robinson Cano's time with the Padres could be coming to an end. Cano's 39, and he's hitting .094. His slash is .094, .121, .094 in 11 games with the Padres.
Well, that was
well, you
fast.
can only
Yeah, it was
get away
11.
with those numbers if your last name is Gallo. So
I was gonna
That's a
see if
good
Matt
one,
was gonna
Matt.
go there.
That was a good one.
Uh,
Yes,
so good.
absolutely. Uh huh.
Totally worth it.
Yep.
Totally worth it. All right, here's another funny random thing. So there was a home plate umpire who had his mic still on, I think, like after he was explaining a call, and he told Adam Duvall that he's having a good hair day. That was caught on the mic.
Love it. That's amazing because you can't see an ump's hair anyways. So I don't know.
So good, so good. Moving to Wospo, shout out to the Sabina. We should have her on sometime soon here. Becky Hammon, who took over for the Las Vegas Aces, is 9-1 in her first 10 games as WNBA head coach. The NBA said she couldn't be a head coach yet. That is the best start for a WNBA head coach in league history. So
Nice.
shout out to Becky. I really really want her to do well because I want her to be able to say no to an NBA team that wants to bring her over and just pick where she actually wants to go because she was just I felt like she was being used by the Spurs for so long. Kind of like how baseball does sometime with Jackie Robinson. Like they just like use the fact that like Jackie broke the color barrier, but they don't like actually do anything to promote more diversity in the game or at the executive level or something like that. And like with Becky, I felt like they were like, oh well, she's this great assistant with the Spurs, and when Pop got thrown out of a game, she got to be the first woman interim acting head coach, whatever the title was, and everything. But like when she wanted to actually coach, they were like, no, you don't have the right experience, and that just never made sense to me. It's just crazy. So shout out to Becky. I thought that was really cool. I
Yeah,
think it's really cool. It's still happening. And
that's awesome.
some trivia. Manny Machado currently leads Major League Baseball in WAR. Future Hall of Famer Manny Machado, who is the only Padre to lead Major League Baseball in WAR for a full season. Can you name the season? Can you name the player?
Oh, this is a good one.
It's not
Hmm.
that difficult, but it could become a little bit more difficult if you assign a certain attribute a little bit too much value.
Kevin Brown.
Very good.
Fuck yeah. Would have been late 90s, right?
1998 World Series
Okay.
year. The only year he pitched
I
for the
was I
Padres.
was I was clicking through. I was like, well, it can't be Gwynn
Yeah,
Right.
he wasn't good enough
because
at
that's too
defense.
obvious. I was like, could it be Trevor Hoffman? I don't think so.
I thought one of you might go with Greg Vaughn because
Oh,
both
okay.
Vaughn and Brown parlayed those 98 seasons into big deals. I'm pretty sure Vaughn got a big deal with the Rays, maybe,
Rays or
which is
Brewers,
crazy
Brewers?
right?
to think about. Maybe, no, I think he was with the Brewers before that. And Brown parlayed his to that big deal with the Dodgers.
Right.
I was
After
trying
that.
to think of a random name that, but like Ryan Klesko, something
Yeah.
like that. Like, but that just, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Brown had good numbers. He had a WAR of 10.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
That
that's an
season.
amazing season. 10
Yeah,
WAR is fucking insane.
yeah,
When Kevin Brown is like super underrated. He had some really good years.
yeah. I
Except when
think
he
he
was
was
with the
just
Yankees.
he was just a
Yeah.
dick
Well,
though,
that
and
was at the end of his career.
I don't think he was very well liked, which is
Yeah.
why he probably doesn't get remembered very well.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did Robin Yount ever play for the Padres?
I think he
Or-
played Brewers his whole career.
Okay. Who am I thinking? There's some guy from like that time period that I'm thinking of that I felt like played with the Padres, like Paul Molitor or Robin Yount, like one of these guys.
Goose Gossage,
Ken
Gossage.
Caminetti.
Craig Nettles.
Caminiti. Yeah.
Caminetti
Anyways.
was on the '98 team.
Yeah.
He was
Actually,
third baseman.
Caminiti, that would have been an interesting guess. Yeah.
Yeah, because he
But,
won the MVP with the Padres in '96.
right. Yeah.
So, yeah, that actually would have been a really good guess.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he was the one who like blew the steroid stuff wide open, right? Wasn't he like the first big name to
I think
come
he was
out
the
and be
first one to like really admit to it.
like, yeah, and be like, yeah, we were
And
all
Seiko
fucking doing
obviously blew it
it.
open.
Well, right, with the book. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Juiced.
Yeah.
Juiced. Yeah.
I'll do anything for money, Jose Canseco.
Yeah.
Fun fact: Jose Canseco follows me on Twitter.
Wait, no shit, really?
Yeah, go look it up.
Oh, that's super funny. Okay.
The
I didn't
real
know that.
Jose Canseco, blue check mark and everything.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I reached out to him about the podcast. He has not responded.
Imagine if Jose Canseco came on this random fucking podcast that 5 people listen to. We'll know that things have gotten really bad for him if that ever happens.
Yeah.
Jose, when the home run went off your head, did it hurt? If he ever comes on, I will ask him that.
Oh my god, so funny.
Oh my god, so good. All right, this is interesting. A lot of people ask what are good baseball podcasts, and there's a new podcast that just came out. It's a collaboration, I guess, between Odyssey. Is that how you say it? Audacy, and in Major League Baseball, it's called Unwritten, and it's hosted by former MVP Jimmy Rollins and Ron Darling, actually.
Oh, wow.
And they just released the first 2 episodes today, and they're gonna talk about all the unwritten rules, and it seems like they're gonna tie in a lot, like Tim Anderson stuff is what is in this cover that I took a screenshot of. So I love Jay Rollin. I think that I don't know a ton about Ron Darling, but I'm gonna give it a shot and check it out. Might be a baseball podcast people would be interested in.
Yeah, really
Who was
interesting. I'm very
Darwin an
curious.
announcer for?
That's maybe.
Doesn't he
Yeah, that
do
sounds
ESPN
right.
sometimes?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
what's interesting is those guys are both like from a previous generation, right? It doesn't seem like it with Rollins, but like he came up in
Yeah.
2000 and retired in 2016, and Darling was even earlier than that. And so, an unwritten rules podcast from them. I'm very curious if their opinion is going to be like, yes, all of these unwritten rules are important, blah 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 blah, or if they're going to be a
Yeah,
little more
is it going to
progressive
be
about it.
dated? Yeah.
Yeah, because unwritten rules are fucking garbage and need to go away. So
Yeah. I'll report back after I listen to the
I'm
first
super
couple
curious.
episodes. Yeah. Okay. This one is you guys heard about the Jock Peterson Tommy Pham
Yes.
incident with
Oh,
fantasy
there's
football?
video of it now.
Yes.
Oh, I have to find
Yes,
this.
somebody got video. Jeff Hassan released it. It is very amateur. It's not as good as the Chris Rock, Will Smith, very great footage, very clear footage.
Yeah.
But you could definitely see the slap happen. And Mike Trout had a scheduled interview today and had to get behind the microphone. And he declined to comment on whether Jock Peterson violated the rules of the fantasy league, which is why the slap happened.
Wait, Trouty's in the same fantasy league?
He's the
Trouty is the
commissioner.
commissioner. Yes.
No
of the
shit.
league.
Oh, that's so fucking funny. Okay,
Yes.
I didn't see this.
And so I think originally when after the slap happened, Jock was saying, yeah, it was over fantasy football. And then Tommy's the one who called out Trout, saying that he's a terrible commissioner or something like that.
Okay, but there's more to that.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
He said he's a terrible commissioner. He didn't call him out as much as said no one wanted to do it. I didn't want to do it. We made Trout do it. He's a terrible commissioner. It's probably our fault for making him do it. I would be a terrible commissioner too. So there's more there. He didn't necessarily say it was his fault as much as said we kind of made him do it and he didn't stop it, but I don't think anyone else would have done it either.
Yeah. So Trout did, while he declined to comment on it, he did respond, and he said that he's unsure if he'll resign as commissioner for this coming season, but he said, quote, every commissioner I know gets booed, end quote.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's about as much as you get from Mike Trout on a good day anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Really.
So
that's super funny.
Which reminds me, this is not a screenshot I took, but the other really boring baseball personality of our generation, Derek Jeter, just joined social media. So check out Derek Jeter's Twitter and Instagram accounts. I think he's doing it as a ramp up to his 10-part docuseries that's coming out in July 18th, I think is the launch of that. But so far, I've been looking at some of his stuff. It's been pretty interesting. He's been engaging with fans. He's been answering questions. He's definitely got like a video production crew who's helping him out. And I mean, he's Derek Jeter. He's got endless money.
Parts?
Say it again.
10 parts?
I think it's 10 part.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
8 part, 7 part.
Okay,
I
so
remember.
it's ESPN is doing this, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Is it the same team that did the Jordan documentary?
I have no idea. I don't think so though.
I mean, I have to think. I didn't watch the Jordan documentary. I think we talked about it in the pod.
Yep.
I have to think Jeter would have a similar agreement where he has ultimate veto rights about what goes in and out of the pot.
Yeah, I think they all do. Yeah.
But to me that means it's not genuine. It's
Oh, Matthew.
I mean, I kind of feel that too. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, if he's not
But
going
you're never
allow.
So, but here's the problem though. You're never going to get the cooperation of all the people that you need if the key person or the key, like the Lakers are dropping a 10-part docuseries, I think this summer too. And again, like, yeah, it's going to be scripted toward what the Lakers want you to hear, just like it is.
But it's not a documentary. It's Lakers propaganda.
Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. It's still going to be interesting, but you're never going to get the key people to sign off if the Lakers don't sign off on it. If Derek Jeter doesn't sign off on it, if Michael Jordan doesn't, people are going to be like, I'm not talking to you. I don't care. Like that. But they have, I mean, I've seen the one guy who's doing the Jeter thing. Like he's talked to all the dynasty dudes. Like they're all in it. Torrey's in it, you know, and everything. Like
Tactical master, Joe Torre.
Yeah. I get your point, man. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if documentaries are so much made. It's just like sports, right? Like, documentaries I think are made for their entertainment value, but like the purists want it to be made for like, does it accurately tell a story? And like only to a certain extent. Like take Mickey Mantle. If Mickey Mantle was alive in today's world and somebody wanted to do a documentary on him, there is no way he would sign off on telling the full story. He would be okay with telling some of the story in his way, but you would never get him to sign
instead
off.
Instead of a documentary.
Yeah.
Don't call it a documentary.
I'm just telling, it's a docu-series is what they call it.
Yeah.
I get it. I get both sides. I'm still interested in it. It's sports content.
Yeah, no, it's still interesting. Yeah,
it'll be interesting. I don't see it as genuine. I don't. To me, that's not the story.
But what are you going to get that's more genuine than that?
I mean, I still think you can talk to a majority of the people that you need. There's plenty of unauthorized biographies and documentaries that I think are
Yeah,
just
but
as
how
truthful.
many Michael Jordan documentaries are out there that are known as much as The Last Dance is? Because Michael is in it. You know?
But I mean, it's also because it was like shoved down our throat and advertised out the wazoo, and just
There's
like the
something
Jeter
else
one will
happening.
be. Like,
Yeah.
like I still think, oh, okay, maybe if you don't get his permission, you only get 4 episodes instead of 10. Like,
Right,
but
right.
I'd count that content as just as reliable. Like, I would rather trust the editorial decisions of the documentarian than of the subject.
So what is there an example of a documentary out there that you feel like meets the integrity level that you want it to? I'm just curious. I'm not being an asshole.
I'm trying to think of the last documentary I watched.
Like any of those 30 for 30 on
The
ESPN.
Fire Festival one that wasn't by the guys from Fuck Jerry. That's the good one. Because you guys got to remember again. Okay, here. Okay, you got 2 documentaries about the same thing. One is being produced by the company that fucking advertised Fire Festival to begin with. So
Yeah.
is it a documentary or is it a cash grab
PR.
on what?
PR.
Yeah,
Exactly.
propaganda, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Like
Michael Jordan doesn't need PR. Derek Jeter doesn't need PR. The
Michael Jordan
Lakers
needs
don't
PR
need
still.
PR.
Michael Jordan still needs PR.
Oh my god. For what reason?
Because he's Michael Jordan.
All right, Matt. You win. I give this one to you. I give up.
Hey, Ethan agreed with me.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
agree with you
yeah.
too.
There
I'm
we
just
go.
I'm just saying I guess I just don't hold the same. I don't hold it against them for going ahead and doing it anyway. Like I still think it's going to
Oh
be
no,
super
no, 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 no,
interesting.
no. I'm not saying I hold it against them. I say that I try and be critical of any sort of documentary or biography that I read because I look at it through the lens of who is producing this and why are they doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's all I'm getting at. But is it going to be entertaining? Absolutely. Is there going to be a lot of stuff that I probably never heard about Jeter? Absolutely. But am I going to get the full picture? No, I'm going to get maybe this much.
So
Like,
what part of the picture, if you just Derek Jeter specifically, what part of the picture are you hoping to get that you don't feel like would come
no,
in?
I mean, I feel like if he's going to, whatever he says no to, I want to know. Like,
Yeah,
if
well,
we're going to be
exactly.
like,
Yeah, that's the stuff we want to know. What's the shit he
yeah,
doesn't want to come out?
yeah. So I can't tell you what, I can't tell you what I want to see because I don't know, but I can tell you that he's saying no to things that he doesn't want us to see. And that's not me saying I want to dig in and like expose him. Like that doesn't need to be a gotcha piece.
Yeah,
You're
it's
a
not.
But
Yeah.
woke mob person, aren't you?
no, it doesn't have to be that. Just like it doesn't have to be a piece on Jordan, But one of the criticisms I heard on the Jordan podcast, and again, haven't watched or the Jordan documentary, haven't watched it, um, was how it portrayed the coach and the GM, the guy who put together the team in the first place. I heard it trashed him and threw him under the bus, and it was pretty unfair. A lot of people who knew, I can't remember the guy on the Bulls, but who knew him said that it was a very one-sided proposal or a very one-sided uh, view of this executive on the Bulls, and it was very unfair to him and trashed him. But that was what Jordan said had to be in there.
Hmm.
I mean, I could see that. I also think I personally think they gave him the credit that was due, but they also trashed him for just wanting to end a dynasty for no other reason than he wanted the spotlight more than Michael. He thought he would be able to build a team without Michael and all of them. And so he wanted to push out Michael, he wanted to push out Phil. And Obviously that was the wrong decision. So
But again, with the way that was portrayed,
right.
that's Michael. I mean, I feel like if ESPN said we're going to give you $40 million to do this 10-part series, but we have the final say, I still think there's a chance they get the final say and Jeter to sign on, right?
But
Um,
so okay, so but here you're bringing up a really good point. Here's the difference for me. That Lakers winning time thing on HBO that just happened. It was very similar to The Crown, where it is written in explicit letters before every episode that this is dramatized. It is based on a real story, but it's not telling the story as it is. I don't know that you can put together a documentary of integrity at the level of, and I mean, my feelings around ESPN in general, but just take ESPN as the example. I don't know if there's got to be some truth to what they're putting in there. They can't just like blatantly put somebody's opinion in there without having some facts to back it up, because somebody
no,
would
no, no, no,
expose
yeah,
that. And then it's like, so while I get what you're saying about like how it's tailored to fit Michael Jordan's narrative, at the same time, Jerry Krause was, I mean, a great GM who stayed long past his due and thought he was better than he was, and like that for me is fact, and they told that in that way in the documentary.
yeah. I guess I'm just saying I don't trust that I'm getting the full picture. I think you're right. The same criticism I could levy towards Jordan or Jeter, potentially, you have to put that same criticism towards ESPN as well. You're right. The lens at which it was produced. So
Yeah.
the same criteria that I look at and evaluate, am I getting the whole story because this is what Jeter wants or doesn't want? I have to say the same thing about ESPN. Is what purpose does this serve ESPN? Are they telling me the whole story, or are they omitting things where they may look bad, or where they? So you've got to have that. Unless you've got a truly independent documentarian that's one of those avant-garde gonna release this to 7 people at a film festival and like you know uh Carmel, Indiana on a Tuesday afternoon, because it's his art project or whatever. Like, I don't know. Yeah, you've got to look at it that way too. So I get you, kind of. I'm being a high horsey and a little too critical, but
Yeah,
um,
I get you too. I feel it. Is Carmel, Indiana a real place?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So our listeners in Carmel will appreciate that shout out.
we
Shout
actually
out
have
to Mike,
a huge
Carmel,
fan
Indiana.
base
What
in
what?
Carmel, Indiana. Yeah, Carmel loves us. They're actually thinking about holding a two jocks and a schlub festival next year. So yeah, Carmel, Indiana. Thank you.
Yeah.
Festival's going to be us showing up at a parking lot of a Lowe's and drinking beer.
Yeah, sounds like a good time. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So we're gonna top this off with the mailbag. Uh, before we get
Andy's
to
mailbag. Oh
Oh yeah,
man,
Dan
yep,
had one.
oh
Yeah.
this one I stopped reading. It made my head hurt.
yep. Well, before we get to brother Dan's mailbag, um, I don't need you guys to chime in with anything, but I am gonna do this every single week, because I am just so fed up with everything that is going on with guns in this country, and I want to put a plea out to people to just think about common sense gun laws and just consider it for a minute. If you haven't already, just please consider it. If you're for common gun laws and the safety that it provides, call your local state government people, plea for them to consider it as well. Just tonight, like an hour and a half ago, there were
Yep.
3 simultaneous active shooting situations in the United States: a medical building in Tulsa, a Walmart in Pennsylvania, and a high school in Los Angeles. Like, I'm just so beyond it. I don't care if people hear this and they think it's political. I'm just asking for common sense gun safety laws. I'm not asking to take away the guns. I'm just saying take away the access to military style weapons for 18-year-olds and anyone else who wants to do damage like this to people. I'm just over it. So every single week I will plea to people to look into it, to consider it, to educate on it more. And that's my rant. The Onion had a very funny headline about guns police people today. It said off-duty officer instinctively reaches to turn off body cam during argument with wife. And
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, fucking brilliant. Oh God.
roasted
So good.
roasted people. So um, I'm just done with it. So all right.
Do we want it, Matt? I'm debating if I should chime in. If I get going, I'll go on too long.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
say
not asking for like debates or anything like that.
yeah.
This is my plea to people.
No, I think you said it really, really well. I think you were super nice about it. All I was going to say is that I would be a lot less nice about it. And I would say, fuck you and fuck your guns. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, it's 21st century society, global society. You don't get to have access to stuff that can just murder people that easily. Sorry. Like, shut the fuck up. That's how far I'm way more extreme on this. But I thought that plea was really, really well said. So thank you.
All right. So, I don't know if I remember the question verbatim. I'm trying to see if, because you're right, Matt, this is long. So, Brother Dan wrote in a question. I think it was who would have the higher number, amount of games that Aaron Hicks would play, or the amount of home runs that Stanton and Judge would have. And I believe I picked Hicks to have more games played, because it would be, I mean, sensible to think he could play 100
like 100 games.
Yeah, 100 games, even 100 games at the
Should
low
be
end
enough,
would still
yeah.
be enough to out homer Judge and Stanton combined. However, we have reached the point in the year where just last night, Hicks was stinking so much that the defensive liability Miguel Andujar was starting in the outfield in place of him, and they have Judge in center, and they have Gallo in right.
Hicks has also been a defensive liability the last few years. I'm looking at the numbers.
Yeah, and so Hicks has played 39 games this season, and Judge and Stanton, even with Stanton being on the IL, have 28 home runs. This was as of last week. That might be 29 or 30 because I think Judge might have hit one or two homers. Danny seems to think that the Stanton Judge homers might win out because he's hoping that Andujar gets a legit shot to beat him out. I do not hope that. I just don't. I like Andujar's bat, but oh my God, he's bad in the outfield. And I know, Ethan, you said Hicks is a liability too, but he cannot be worse than Andujar.
Oh, he's not worse than Andujar defensively. No, he's not worse than that. I think there's a debate to be had there in terms of overall value, but
yeah. Well, so the actual question is, will Hicks finish with more hits than games played by Andujar? Hits has 24. And at the time of this question, 24 hits, and Andujar had 5 games played. That's both of those numbers might have ticked up 1 or 2.
Yeah, I think he will.
Will Hicks play more games than Andujar gets hits?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say no.
No, other way around.
Well, Hicks finished with more hits, than games played.
Oh, will Hicks finish with more hits than games that Andujar plays?
No.
Yes.
Hicks. Yes.
That's the question.
Well, Hicks finished with more hits, currently had 24 as of this writing, than games played by Andujar, currently had 5 as of this writing.
I say no.
I say he will.
So you're saying no, Andujar won't have more games played, and Matt, you're saying Andujar will have more games played?
I'm saying Andujar will have more games played.
And I'm saying Hicks will have more hits.
I agree with Matt.
Okay. I'll be interested to see. Hicks he's been such a fucking disaster, and I was just looking at his numbers. He's only played more than 100 games twice. He's been in the league since 2013. He's only played more than 100 games twice. Like
that contract was terrible.
Dude, like he cannot stay healthy. He cannot stay healthy at all. And frankly, he was good in 2017 and 2018. Other than that, he's been like mediocre.
He was good for one play in Minneapolis.
Like that's it. Like so. Yeah, I don't know. And he's 32. Like chances are he's not getting better at this point. Miggy at least is still like prime-ish age. Oh, What is Miggy? Miggy is 27. Yeah, Miggy's in his prime. Even
Yeah.
with bad defense, he might, based on what his rookie year was like with his bat, he might have enough left in his bat that, in my opinion, he could potentially be like way more worth it than Hicks at this point. But
You know how you were saying last week, Ethan, that like the COVID years kind of it just throws you off, like when you think about like some of these players. I forget who we were talking about specifically, but we were like, yeah, that person hasn't really been good in a long time. And it's just crazy
yeah,
to me that Miguel Andujar's rookie season was in 2018
yeah,
and it is 2022,
I know,
and
it's
he's
insane.
barely played in the
Barely.
majors since then
Yeah.
Well,
because
I
of
mean, he had a
injuries.
season-long injury, yeah,
Yeah,
and
Right.
COVID. And,
COVID.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so crazy. And he hit so well that year. Like, yeah, his defense was notoriously bad, although I would argue not any worse than the famous Derek Jeter, who we were just talking about, who also is famously the worst defensive player in history, regardless of position. But his bat was so good. He had 27 homers and 47
You,
doubles.
you
Like,
guys should, see if he comps to Soriano.
let's see. Oh, because you can look at that on, yeah, where are the comps? Are they down, the player comps?
Yeah. But
On the
yeah,
page?
I don't know. I hope the Yankees have the guts, if it gets to this point, to pull a Robinson Cano on Hicks and just say goodbye and walk away from it.
Well,
And
I don't know if it's the same situation.
instead of holding someone like, what's his name? Not Florial, but
Yeah, Florial's in
no.
outfielder.
Who's the single A? Dominguez.
Dominguez, yeah.
Jason Dominguez.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the reason that there was a Cano debate. The reason Cano was all about money. Like they didn't have anybody to replace Cano. They didn't have a farm system then. That was
No,
like
no. I'm saying the Mets now said we can, even though we owe him $80 million. I have someone better. He's not performing. Get him out of here.
and
We'll
while
plug in.
right. While I
So
agree
if
with you that the Hicks deal was not great, it was just an extension, so he's not getting paid monster money. So
no,
and I don't know if there's many
you're
years
not getting
left
what I'm
on
saying.
it.
I'm saying I wish that in a year or two, if we still have Hicks on the team,
But I don't know if his contract goes past this year.
oh, he does.
How can I find that?
Didn't he sign it in like 2018?
Give me a second, guys.
Yeah, how do you pull? Doesn't I thought Baseball Reference would just have like the contract listed?
It does.
It
They do
does.
salaries toward the bottom.
Actually, it's at the very top.
Oh, he signed through 2025.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Okay.
through
Told you.
25. Yeah, and and
What's
26 a team option for 26.
what's his annual?
10. Yeah, 7 years.
10
70
million a
million.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So-
that's easy to eat.
In 2024, when Dominguez is ready to come up, I hope we do the right thing and say, get the hell out of here, Hicks.
If not
Unless Hicks
sooner.
decides to miraculously turn it around.
Yeah.
I mean, he might be a veteran presence where he could be a fourth outfielder. Judge might not be with the team anymore. Stanton's only getting older. Like, you can't make a prediction like that 2 seasons from now without knowing like how things are going to shake out. They're already short in the outfield. Like that's the whole
Are you
reason.
saying he's going to automatically start playing more than 100 games a year and he's going to turn it around?
I'm just saying that he could become a serviceable enough outfielder where he could hit as well as Gardy did the past like 5 seasons. And
I'd
he's a
I'd rather
switch
have
hitter.
Gardner.
I just want to say really quickly that Hicks has been so bad this year. His OPS and his OPS plus are both lower than Joey Gallo's. Not by much, but they're lower. Both of them, OPS and OPS plus, lower than fucking Gallo.
At least Gallo is like negative 0.1 more.
Yeah, what are they
Hicks
right
is
now?
negative 0.4.
Yeah, God. Whew. He is in a real bad place.
You know, I mean, both of those guys, it's really interesting. I've heard both of them in interviews, whether they're on podcasts or just like reported in writings that I've read. They both care so much. It's like just the classic, like they are just
Too much
in their
pressure on
heads. They are
themselves,
good
yeah.
people, good dudes. I want them to do well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they're their own worst enemy. Like it sucks. Like I can't even imagine the pressure of being a major leaguer, being with the Yankees. And again, like we were
Yeah.
talking about last week, it's not even like either one of them are asking, or we're not asking them to be the dude. Like we're
Yeah.
just asking them to be serviceable players on a very good team, on the team with the best record in baseball. They're almost playing 700 baseball at the beginning of June. Like it's unbelievable. And to read off those negative wars on both players is like, just I want to get in their heads and remove all that negativity so they can just like be who they are, you know?
Yeah, seriously.
In the same breath, though, I don't care how much you care about it. If you work for, Microsoft and they're paying you $10 million a year and you're not doing what they pay you for, then they're gonna fire you.
Fair
Like,
enough. Yeah.
goodbye.
It's a good point. Yeah.
Like,
But Major League
Boss
Baseball
Matt.
has a great union. Those are guaranteed contracts. So don't
Yeah.
fault players for getting what they
no,
are
no,
worth.
no, they'll still pay them, but yeah, but they'll say, all right, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the difference between Major League Baseball and the working world as we know it in corporate America is like, even though it may seem like, okay, somebody who's making $10 million a year in corporate America is pretty highly skilled, the ratio of highly skilled workers to replace that person is much higher than it is to replace a baseball player at Aaron Hicks level or even at Joey Gallo's level. Like they're just, even though they're playing terrible, like
Well, I mean,
it's so difficult.
they're playing. You use the magic word replace, and they're both playing at worse than replacement level.
I mean, to be fair, Gallo is at 0 as of right now, according to Baseball
So
Reference.
he is playing at replacement
His
level.
multi
is
hit game
below.
yesterday, baby.
Meaning
exactly.
that if you grab someone from from AAA baseball, he's replacement, he's going to
Perform
win
as
you
well.
the same amount of games.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. In the context of right now, Matt, you are right. But in the longer term picture of like why
You are
teams don't get rid of people when they have 4 years remaining or 3, whatever Hicks is on his contract.
Your point is accurate. Yeah.
3 years after this year, through 2025.
With a team option for 26.
Exactly. Yep.
Crazy. When did he sign that contract? After the 18, it had to be after his really good year, right?
Yeah, because it was 7 years. Yeah, 7-year deal. 19 to 25. So yeah, so it was after 18. Yep.
Wow. For some reason, I thought it was like a 5-year, 4-year.
Yeah, 7 years. Yeah, he got
Is
himself
is
a
that
good
what
deal.
Sevy got? Like a 7-year?
Let me see.
'Cause he
4 years.
also has not
Sevy
played
is
a
only
ton.
4 years, only through this year. 4
Wow.
years and 40 million through this year. 23 is a team option. I imagine we'll pick that up unless he has an insane collapse.
Yeah. So that's good they have the team option because otherwise, he'd be getting good money at this point.
Yeah.
From I don't know if the Yankees are going to be able to pay him and Judge, and God,
Yeah.
just sucks. Even when you pay the most amount of money in the league or close to the top every single year, you just like can't have them all because of that fucking luxury tax.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we kept the listeners far longer than we anticipated.
Yeah,
but
true.
A lot of randomness got us going. That was
fun.
good.
It was good.
Yeah. Any shout outs
Thank you,
before we go?
listeners.
I think I got my shout outs in.
All righty. Same time next week.
Yep.